Hi friends, we are watching the Career Talkie with Abhilash, and this special series is we are commemorating 25 years of Kargil Vijay Divas. As you're aware that I mentioned previously also that we are actually navigating various careers. जो वर्ल्ड ऑफ वर्क में मेंशन है कि जो दुनिया में वर्क कितने टाइप के वर्क प्रोफाइल्स हैं, क्या है इनके बारे में, तो हमने कारगिल विजय दिवस को भी कमोमरेट किया एंड इंडियन डिफेंस फोर्सेस में स्पेशली इंडियन आर्मी साइड की तरफ हम कैरियर्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं एंड टुडे what we are actually looking at is many times many much like last 15-20 years before when it was considered Indian Army or Indian Defense Forces, it was mostly understood as more male oriented force. But Kargil Vijay Divas जब हम celebrate कर रहे हैं, in fact the Kargil war, it was also one of the first wars where the stories of women helping in the combat action came into picture. So today in our show, we have a veteran, a woman uh, armed forces officer with us, and I will stage by stage introduce her with her a lot of accolades and awards and various activities she has done. But I would like to introduce everyone Major Nithi CJ. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the Career Talkie with Abhilash.
Jai Hind, thank you so much, Abhilash. Thank you for your entire team and the viewers. Thank you for inviting me over.
Ma'am, we have a special interest, especially our viewers who are young women who have started their careers also in corporate world or many places. They always see the uniform and the pride of uniform when the men wear it, or IPS when females wear it, or especially many times back, many such stories of defense forces, Major General in AMC, in JAG, Judge Advocate General roles. They have come up in the pictures and also in the media. So they get inspired, but they are not actually aware on how they at what is the age to go into the army and so much various things. So I would like today's session, and I would request you, in fact, while we like to know about your journey and your dream or career, how did you start from your school to your army life? We would also like you to enlighten our audience about, especially the young girls who are dreaming to wear the uniform, fly the sky, and do everything which is possible, especially in this era of the India, the Bharat we are living in, to have a glimpse of all that which you can inspire them with, ma'am. With your permission, first I would request for your school to work transition life.
Surely, Abhilash, it will be my pleasure. You just mentioned fly in sky, and let me share something interesting about this. My journey started with this dream to fly in the sky. I was probably 10 or 11, and it was a winter sunny morning. I was sitting in the balcony with my grandmother, and at that age, no, you have not much to do on a Sunday. You just have time to play and enjoy with your parents and grandparents. And I just looked up the sky and I saw a jet. The marks that the jet leaves in the sky. And I told my grandmother that I want to fly in the sky. One day I want to be an officer. So it started with that dream. And over a period of time, of course, when you face the realities of life, especially in schooling, while choosing subjects, you realize that okay, you don't have an interest in this subject. You realize that okay, maths is not for you. You are more a student of biology. Now these interests start taking up shapes in the form of your academic subjects, your performance, and so many other things. So in 11th and 12th, I'm a bio student. I have done masters in the microbiology. I did both graduation and postgrad in microbiology. And There was at that time this dream also that I'll join the forces as a doctor. I in fact missed my seat in the Army Dental College by just 1 mark. So, so it's been a journey where I have been on an exploration where I am getting the opportunity to see where I can work more efficiently. um, often as things are portrayed in our society in terms of academics is like, you're weak in this, you're weak in that subject. um, it's not that way. It doesn't mean that somebody is incapable. It is just lack of interest of that particular child in that subject, that's all. The moment we say you're weak in something, you are psychologically bringing down the potential of that child to perform other ways also. And I've seen this with myself. In 11th I was weak in maths, and I was put in that by my teacher only in the week classes, for you have those extra classes and all. And I told my mother that, mama, I am not somehow comfortable with this, because I have through and through been a child who has been securing in the top 3 ranks, and suddenly because I don't have interest in maths, I'm put into this, so that I am able to take up maths in 11th and do well. I don't want to do that. So, as a child, I have always been someone who speaks out my dreams to my parents, and that's the communication I have had with my parents through and through. So, this dream then shaped into joining the army in the regular, what we call as the regular army, in branches apart from the Army Medical Corps. Uh, this opportunity, I would say, it was, in Hindi, we often hear this dialogue from the famous movie of Shah Rukh Khan. Ki, if you like something passionately, the whole cosmos then comes to help you. So, अगर आप पूरी शिद्दत से किसी चीज को चाहते हो तो पूरी कायनात जुड़ जाती है. It is that essence which happened in 2007. The CDS entry was opened up for women candidates, and that was definitely a joyous moment for me, because I always had dreamt to be in the uniform. And somewhere that inspiration came to me from my father also. He's been in the army. My grandfather, he was part of the military engineering services. My great grandfather was also part of the military engineering services. So somewhere that defense inspiration, or that exposure necessary, was always there. But having said that, I feel that my journey is my own. It's my quest to create my identity. I'm grateful that my parents have given me the necessary environment. However, hard work has to be at my end. Even by having best of the environments, if I'm not putting in that necessary effort, I'll not grow. I'll not evolve into getting those successes. Generally people have this opinion that, oh, it would have been very easy for you as an army officer's kid. But that's not how it is. The service selection board, which is the world's one of the toughest interview, is so because it doesn't discriminate people on the basis of your caste, creeds, and religion, and or biases like, you're from the army background, or even for that matter NCC. Many NCC cadets, they ask me that, will it have any benefit in their selections? I say yes, it does have, because for myself, I've seen how NCC has made me more responsible, more confident, more oriented towards social contribution, and contribution in nation building as a responsible youth. So that active participation, that exposure of active participation came to me from NCC.
I have a question. I
So,
have a question now, ma'am.
yeah,
You kind of, single low mentioned that you are in NCC. You have a very good communication skill. You have a good way of conversing your feeling to your parents, and then again in your schooling, you have been quite aware of your own schooling. ऐसे अचानक से कुछ नहीं हो रहा था. You were preparing. You're doing the hard work. Also, you mentioned about a setback, that about subjects, about say
yeah,
entrance exam. and that too in 16
Yeah.
17 years, I think say होगा वो 12th के around होगा.
Yes.
Now this
Yes.
phase happens with many of the youngsters. They have taken a
True.
subject, they have chosen a career, maybe doctor, maybe engineer, I don't know, I'm just saying, and there's a entrance and is say limiting the age or whatever, and the setback happens because there is a limitation and so many other things. That first point when the confidence of a person or first thing when you actually lose out hope, suddenly your aspiration is such strong that it comes back to you as an opportunity. And how do you actually get back to it again? So if you
This was very. You brought out a very important point, Abhilash. This particular phase of my life was literally like the dark night, I would call. Literally, I'll tell you, because I was ready to I wanted to take a certain career path, and yet there are aspirations of my parents which I need to fulfill, and that somehow is subject to the social requirements. You're getting it? कि फलाने के बच्चे ये कर रहे हैं, somebody has joined IIT, and in an army setup, that is more close, because you're seeing आपके खुद के friends, they are getting better opportunities. So yes, that phase was um, really, I wouldn't say, but somehow I for sure had other plans also in place. So while I was in 11th 12th, I was like, okay, let me prepare for the medical exams, and let me see if my interest lies there, if I'm able to crack it or not. Somehow that didn't happen, and I had to join in my science stream, in a graduation, a normal graduation. And yet I was preparing for the first year. I was preparing for it because my mother said, "नहीं नहीं, एक और बार try कर लो." And trust me, I had zero inclination to do it. And I expressed this to my aunt. So my aunt is another one person who has been like my confidant. So she knows all my sins. She is a partner in crime, and she is herself an educationist. She's one of the youngest principals of our district, and rather in the entire of Chhattisgarh, she was the youngest to become a principal at the age of 37, if I'm not wrong. And she has seen so many such kids who have left their aspirations just to fulfill the requirements of parents. So and she has been that instrument in making children fulfill what they dreamt of, and she has gone to the extent of convincing their parents and making them understand, counsel them. So she definitely was not ready to allow it to happen at her home. You getting it? So she said, okay, you want to go for the exam? Disclaimer, youth should not try this. But what I did was, she said that, okay, your exam is on a Sunday. It starts at 9 and it finishes at 12. So we start from here. It takes an hour to reach the center, and 9 o'clock. By the time the mall opens, it's 9:30, quarter to 10. So till then, we'll roam around and go to the mall, watch a movie, and then we come back home. We actually did this, and when the results came, my mom was like, "Oh, your name is not there. You had worked so hard, this that, I'm so feeling so bad for my child," and this stuff. So that's when we spilled the beans to her that we didn't give the exam. No. Because see, somehow I have always been this person that you can't force me to like something or force me to get into something. It has been innately like this for me. Even my bosses knew this. Trust me, in the army, कि इससे वो काम नहीं करा सकते. We can't make her do something which she doesn't agree upon. You know. Huh.
you are not a normal officer, you are an intelligence officer in the, as I understand, in the army. and I would like you to highlight a little bit on the career of after your CDS and training at OTA. How did you get into intelligence? Because and what all are open for women in the organization when they do the CDS, and a little bit more insight on the role of, although I know there's no gender bias as such what we portray, but from your experience, uh, how encouraging are the career streams in the army after CDS for women? These are certain aspects I want to understand
Yeah,
from you.
surely. This is like a follow up to what finally serious happened. When I was preparing, I'm going little back because this will be very important for children to understand, the youth to understand. I was like, okay, serious is whenever like that option was not at all there. So the option was, at that time we had something called as women's special entry scheme, wherein based on your college merit you will get the opportunity to give the SSB. Now that selection was a very tough selection, because uh, people are coming with such good percentile and you have to fit in that bracket. Okay, so that was again a challenge for me, because first year I was like, okay, I think so I should get a good first division kind of thing, and I got a supplementary in my favorite subject. So, and I was shocked because I knew the paper had gone excellent. I filled for a revaluation, nothing came out of that, and I had to sit for the exam. So it came with a lot of disappointment, and I was like, what is this now? You don't imagine somebody who has always been a merit holder, and suddenly you have to see something like, not, it's like failing in a subject. It's failing in a subject, and that to your favorite subject. Zoology is my favorite subject of all the three subjects: chemistry, microbiology, and zoology. That was my electives. So that constant uncertainty was there, that how will I join the forces. So I had also been thinking of UPSC as an option. I kept UPSC as an option open, and in fact after I finished my, so I didn't clear my CDS. I cleared my CDS in first attempt, but I didn't clear my SSB in first attempt. So by the time I went to graduation, I was, I went for my post graduation. I was preparing for my second attempt of CDS, and I also was preparing for the UPSC, both state and at the center. So I had kept these contingency plans open. So lot of planning, lot of analysis I had already been doing, in just deciding my career, on just shaping my career, I would say. And I think so that helped me to choose make me a fit bill for the intelligence score, in because I am somebody who can perceive, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, how do I turn them into an opportunity, how do I turn, what are my threats. I started understanding that innately. Now, coming to CDS, this is a general question, and even today I got a question from a student of BBA, and she said that, "Ma'am, I'm so worried. For the last 6 months, I've been thinking what to do about it. I didn't know. I'm not aware. Can BBA students join through CDS entry?" So the answer is, of course. You just have to be a graduate with a decent, I would say, although the eligibility says 55%, but let's not stick to 55%. You should be at least a decent, nearing 60%, because that gives you a better stance in your interviews also. Now, most people forget that aspect when they are applying, that you will be questioned when you go for your interviews. And In interview we do ask questions like why there is a dip in your 12th marks. You did so well in 10th, what happened in 12th? What, so that is the dissection which happens of your entire portfolio, I would say. So Army presently is offering in all the corps except the infantry and the armored. Now, all the branches, all the services of the, and of course mechanized infantry, all these services have women officers. You know, that is the evolution which has happened in 3 decades. Women officers have been there for 3 decades. So there are a lot of opportunities for women to join the forces, irrespective what is their qualification. They just have to have a certain age criteria and a decent percentile in your graduation. Rest, you give the CDS exam. The CDS exam, trust me, I've been preparing for UPSC, Abhilash. CDS is quite easier. The reason being, what is required there is citizens who are situationally aware what is happening in their country, what is happening at a global uh, setup. Like as an aware citizen, I feel I have to watch the watch the Olympics. I have to watch the parliament session. I should know what is happening in my country. That is all is the requirement there. You know, general knowledge, general studies, general awareness about your country and the uh, at a global level where we are as a country. So all these things, if you have, there is there is also option for going for NCC. NCC definitely gives you necessary exposure. Those who feel that yeah, they need to work on little bit on their communication skills, all that stuff will help them to clear the SSB interview. Now comes the most interesting part where you spoke about intelligence as a branch. uh, yeah, it is a very mystical branch. You know, like less to be spoken about. And uh, uh, there is a very interesting patch by the US intelligence which reads NOYB. The full form is none of your business. So you know, that is the kind of secrecy, that is the kind of gap we prefer to have in terms of information. However, we are an evolving country. We are one of the finest intelligence agencies. So people should know at least what it is. It, what are we doing may not be necessary, but what is it? Can I be part of it? Yes. Any citizen, anybody who wishes to join the forces can become a part of it. However, it is not how it works. When you enter the academy after your basic military training, so first 6 months is basic military training. In, I'm talking of the officers training academy, and the next 6 months is happening the so there you are being trained to be a commissioned officer. You know, you are taking up responsibilities, you are taking up you're given that understanding what is needed for a commissioned officer. That's when, in the last 2 months, you get the exposure and you get the opportunity to choose your arm. Now, for intelligence, there are no sacrosanct requirements that you have to be from this particular academic background or things like that. But your company commanders, the instructors, they always keep a watch on the fact, especially in the beginning itself, they ask us which part of the army you want to be, so that they have enough time to groom you and guide you that way. And there are certain acumens they look at. How are you in your tactical knowledge? How are you in map reading? What is your combat understanding? These are the things where they will vet you on. And the most important part where you are vetted on is your result of your psychology tests in the SSB. So the beauty is the whole journey. So that's why I keep telling the students, whoever aspirants who come to me, don't think that with CDS that thing is forgotten. And it's not like you are in 12 so you can forget what you have studied in 11. No, that's not how it works in these tests. Every activity you do, preparation of your CD's exam is also your testing. Your testing has started the day you decided to join the forces. Your test has started. It is just that you will be assessed on the basis of you know your performance once you reach in that forum. So yeah, so this is about how somebody can approach to. So if somebody is interested in joining the intelligence, let me share something very interesting about it. There are also options to join the intelligence setup in the civil, that is the intelligence bureau. There are many elements of the home ministry who conduct these kinds of exams. The ACIO exams have started now. The IB has started putting it on the net, so people can apply for these
And
exams.
before we go on that part of it, because I understand a career stream needs a lot of grooming, and especially once you mentioned, like the way you mentioned that even in the Forge, that once you thought that this is the your likable area, that also needs that kind of grooming by the people, by the seniors, and who are there taking care of your career journey as such. And then only your interest and task and everything will meet. One aspect is there, one aspect is there, that side of it. But I will come back to that point a little later. Basically, I would want one aspect which I, especially the relevancy of intelligence, like what is intelligence and relevance of it, especially in the information world today, cyber security and things, and how corporate world can do something around it. That I'll come the second part of our discussion, because that is something I think yours and ours area of favorite area of discussion which we'll talk, but they are talking about careers and also commemorating 25 years of Kargil Vijay Divas. There have been certain names which have come especially after the Kargil battle, like Flight Lieutenant Gunjan Saxena, Captain Ruchi Sharma, the first paratrooper, Major Priya Jhingan from Jag branch, Flight Lieutenant Srividya Rajan, another Indian Air Force pilot in Kargil, Captain Yashika Hatwal Tyagi, again an officer from Kargil veteran. So these names are certain inspirational names of women in the army who were in the battle scenario. I would never say combat. All those things are debatable. What happens is when you're in a battle scenario, you are in a battle scenario. As you mentioned just before joining, we were discussing on the Olympic and things like that. So जब वो war है and it's for war for all. Everybody is fighting for the nation and trying to do their bit. I would want, because you've been part of the celebration which the government and many people have been doing. I would want you to uh, share certain experiences of which for our audience where they feel that uh, uh, 1999 was not that easy, and it wasn't actually, and what exactly the Indian Defense Forces stand for, and people like you, examples like you, सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड में ऐसे किसी का नहीं होता. There is a whole lot of thing which goes. It's not about percentages also. मैं चाहता हूँ थोड़ी सी आप you enlighten on that part, and then we come back to your journey on that.
Surely, surely, Abhilash. So, yes. So this year we are celebrating 25 years, and I was fortunate to be part of this rally, which was organized by Mahindra and Forgiana, um, for commemorating the event. We were around 15 odd veterans, and which includes both from Kargil war as well as other who have served in the forces. uh, we also had many members from the Veer Parivars, the martyrs' families. It was a beautiful exposure for me. The whole concept was around taking the emotions, the messages from the citizens of this country for our uh, war heroes, for our brave hearts who have contributed in this entire conflict. So, and of course, I met Captain Yashika there. I mean, I have been in touch with ma'am for quite a long time now. It's been 4 years. But fortunately, this was the second time we met. We met during the honor run last year, but it was brief. But this time we had a whole day together, and we discussed various aspects of conflicts and how women can play a role in these conflicts. And as you rightly brought out, Abhilash, the understanding of combat which we have in the civil parlance is very limited. That's not what combat is. Combat involves everything: the planning, the logistics, the operation. So whenever there is a op discussion which happens, whenever there is an operational discussion, there are also the elements, the supporting elements are always present in that. So if you see you will, if you observe, it's on the web. Whenever army conducts war games, there is also something called as op logistic discussions. It is always done this way, because at the end of the day, without operational logistics, we cannot even think of getting into a war scenario. We need resources in terms of weapons, in terms of ammunition, in terms of our troops, that if they get casualty, what is the evac process. If they are they have to be evacuated by hepter, then you have to ensure the hepter is available, fuel, this, that, its working condition. If it has to be by road, the transport, the route, this, that, what all has to be taken care of. So there are multiple levels of planning which takes place. Um in in the war, we did have such, you took some few names, but I'm sure there were more women officers who have been part of this entire conflict, by virtue of being in active service as part of the Indian Armed Forces. And that time, if you ask me, I discussed with even Captain Yashika how it was. She said, Nidhi, you won't believe it. At that time we didn't have that kind of vehicular transport was different. We didn't have that kind of what do you say, um, the facilities were limited, in the sense that whatever we had was, of a different era. Maybe if it had happened now, things could have got computerized. Many things were still going analog at that time, and so on and so forth. And ammunition, she was in charge. She was handling one of the ammunition points at the rear. Now, people will think that, there are people who will think that, oh, so what is so great about it, because she was not in the face of the enemy. Well, the enemy could have carried out an airstrike at any time on this location, wherever she was. So, when a war happens, the enemy's penetration is not just limited to that front. We are not in that warfare era. We are now in an era of a very dynamic, what we call a very transparent battlefield. We are in an era where battlefield does not have a dimension of 500 meters, 200 meters, or 1000 meters, 50 kilometers. No, it is anywhere. You can choose to strike anywhere now. That is the kind of penetrational capabilities we are looking at today. And in such scenario, women officers can be a good, you will say, the force accelerators, because most of them have gained exceptional expertise in technical branches. You'll find women mostly in the technical branches. Even in the services core, if they have been responsible for many kind of automation processes and all that stuff. So women, so definitely the inclusion of women in army, to join army. I'll stick to army because Air Force and Navy works differently. They don't have foot soldiers. We have foot soldiers. We are a territorial based setup. where territories have to be captured. The whole process is very different. We are more tactical in nature compared to Air Force and Navy, which are more strategic in nature. That's the basic difference. And that's this peculiarity is what is shaping the employability of women officers in a very different way in the armed force, in the army. So so whatever would have been experiences of Flight Lieutenant Gunjan Saxena are very different from Captain Yashika's experience, and this simply lies because of being from two different
Absolutely.
services, two different
Absolutely.
corps, right? So if you put across the same problem to both of them, you will get very different
True.
responses, very different
No, in fact,
perspectives.
I would like to, in
Okay,
fact, my intention over here was in the civilian parlance, what happens is we see what we see in the movies, what we see, the stories we hear, but we do not
exactly.
understand exactly the
Yes,
background and the context, what they speak of.
precisely, because we are not we see women we see the movies with a value of entertainment. We don't believe in having uh, have that inquisition to do some little research what exactly happened. See, the movies are to trigger you, but after receiving that trigger you have done nothing. You've gone back, slept nicely, okay, next day
Yeah,
go back to
in fact,
office.
uh,
Yeah, that's what we do. You see how foreigners, and I'm not being I'm in no way being a racist or anything on that lines, but generally observe foreign tourists and you observe us when we are traveling. So the reason to travel or the reason to watch movies is to gain an info supremacy. That is why we are doing it. Correct. What is it? It is giving us that kick of information. Nowadays, even media is doing the same for us. You can get the same kick there also. Right. But we don't put in efforts to turn that information into knowledge, into deep, insightful knowledge. And that deep, insightful knowledge is what we call as
absolutely,
intelligence.
ma'am, you
Correct. So,
smartly put it over here, and I want to continue your
yeah,
introduction actually. So, ma'am is an army veteran with a decade
yeah,
plus in diverse experience in information security, social media intelligence in military and corporate leadership. So, like in 2020, she took an unconventional step that she's an ambassador of Fit India since 2022. The yoga and well-being, she took it as a career. She's a certified yoga instructor, and in fact, she has been invited to at-home ceremony by the Chief of Army Staff on Vijay Divas on 2023. Ma'am also, uh, she is a women leader awarded 11th awarded at the 11th World Women Leadership Congress 2024. Uh, when we go to the various academics, I think obviously, as she mentioned, intelligence, her interest is there. She's done MPhil in defense and strategic studies, MSc and BSc in microbiology that we all know that before she joined army. There's something called diploma in Pashto language. If she wants to let us know, we are very much curious to know. And then diploma in career in computer application. She's a certified career counselor and also a certified handwriting analysis and therapist. Whereas, as I mentioned, she's a yoga expert, yoga uh, fitness and yoga and wellness, level 2 certified by the Ayush Ministry. So I can see, ma'am, that you have lot many things to contribute. In fact, post your after the uniform service, I see that some or other way you are in the nurturing of the new generation in a better way to fit not just army but multiple careers, but with a very strong mindset. I would want one decision or one thought, what led to what. Like I can see multiple things happening. What led to what? One aspect of it. Second one was, ma'am, like Somehow I want or I would like you to discuss how the army ethos or your experience of army in the intelligence or maybe as a uniform service आप जहाँ पे भी रहे हैं, how you have been able to transcend it to today's uh, this is especially for my audience. Basically they are from corporates, कोई schools हैं, कई बड़े बड़े corporate leaders हैं, कोई my colleagues were there in the various in the corporate world across the kind of world. वो सुनते हैं इन चीजों को, वो समझते हैं and they are also look out for new thoughts, new ideas which can create that kind of bonding, that kind of professionalism in a corporate world also. About army, everybody is aware. The honesty, the kind of brotherhood, and all the things they know, and they get inspired. But they want something for their own organization, so that's why they get very interested to talk with any veteran, any person from army because उन्हें लगता है कि वो भी कुछ सीख पाए. And my request to you is like we are little bound by time. I've extended. I couldn't bother you, but we actually have then another 10-15 minutes if you can give us a little bit insight around that, which helps my audience as well to understand. And I'd also like to tell dear friends that you can reach out to me. I'll put Madam's description, contact details in the YouTube description also. And I'll tag her in the LinkedIn as well. So you can reach out to her as well. Or maybe to me if you don't want to reach directly. And I'll definitely convey Madam about, because she's now talking about multiple things. But what suits your way of looking at, she is in fact the right person to talk on various aspect of life. आप अगर स्कूल सोच रहे हैं, corporate सोच रहे हैं, so she's the right person over here with us. So ma'am, with that, a little on that query which I asked.
Surely, surely, Abhilash. I'll take on the second question first because the second question leads to the first answers for the first one. Okay. So, military ethos we talk about. I think so. The most important aspect of all military ethos, which has been a constant reminder to me even today, is what we call as the Chetwood's credo. And I'll just put it in simple words for the audience. The first credo talks about nation first, always and forever. The country is first. Okay. The second credo talks about welfare of people, safety and welfare of the people comes second, and third is your own safety and security. So that is something which is so ingrained in us. It's so ingrained in us that it has now become, you can say, it is a genetic part of me now. I cannot give up on that. So whenever, whatever I have taken up in life, even after leaving army, after completing my service, I still feel it as my duty to serve the country. Now, um, you spoke of, you just read out about handwriting analysis, and the need to get into yoga and all that. What might look little diverse for people is all connected. When I took up handwriting, I've been analyzing handwritings even when I was in the army. So I've been doing that for quite a long time now. It's been now at least more than 6-7 years that I've been analyzing handwritings. Handwritings give us about the personality of the professional interests, social interests, their relationships with people, professionally and personally, characteristic personality traits, like, is a person a self-created leader, or is he a better manager? What roles are better for this particular person? Are they risk takers? So many aspects of our human personality and behavior Both can be understood from handwriting analysis. It is a proven science, which is also the forensic part of it is utilized by the forensic experts. You know, so that's how my interest to further delve into handwriting came. And during COVID, I conducted many workshops for children, especially because that's the right age where we can understand the psyche of our child, and we can probably groom the child into a better direction. At least try that. Now, while I was doing this, I was also working as a risk management consultant in a firm for 1.5 years. And thereafter, I decided to take this leap of yoga because my health wasn't in that great shape after leaving army. I'm not used to sedentary lifestyle at all. At all. Even now, although I am doing things from home, I ensure that I get up and take a walk between a 30 minutes break. After 30 minutes I take a break. That's how I am. Um, so that's how yoga happened to me, I would say. Blessed to have got this opportunity. I did both levels, first and second in this. uh, Yoga took me to a different dimensions of human understanding. I realized that so many ailments that we see today is reason of our mental condition. So psychosomatic diseases are the major cause of all kind of disorders and diseases that we see today. Especially when we talk of women, PCOD, which we see very commonly these days, is an output of this trauma that starts whenever it starts. A stress turns into a traumatic condition, or some life experience takes you through that you to that situation. Even in terms of blood pressure, you talk of heart problems, diabetes. I have had clients from all these backgrounds, even thyroid issues. So if you at the end of the day see, it is because somewhere we haven't understand our own personality, our own behavioral responses towards situations in life. And why? Because had we made that effort to understand, we would have the same information supremacy that I was talking about. So it's information lack of information about ourselves which brings down our confidence in any situation. If you don't feel confident because of two reasons: either you're not well aware of the situation, or you're not well aware about how you will perform in that situation. That situation is new to you. You're getting it. So these are certain. So what I've started doing is I've started incorporating these two tools when even in my counseling sessions for career. People understand career counseling very differently. They think that if they come to me, I will be able to tell you, ki, ha, you do this, and that's all. No, career counseling is about making you aware of what are your interests. Why do you like going to mountains vis-a-vis chilling in a beach? Giving you a very simple anecdote for that. So that is what is career counseling. Career counseling is again a tool to help you understand yourself better. So whenever we do counseling session, it has three elements: there is interest, there is personality, there is aptitude. When we say aptitude, it sees your logical ability, your reasoning ability, and your intelligence. Now these three things interestingly doesn't change much. You have to put in lot of efforts to get a certain logical capability, you know. And especially when we age, when as we age, it crystallizes very differently. Personality, again, people think that this is my personality, I am like this. You will hear this a lot from people. The moment they say I am like this, they have just put a stop to themselves from evolution. I personally believe in breaking patterns. If you feel something in your personality is not contributing in your professional or personal success, just break that pattern. Just work to break that pattern. So, personality is an output of our experiences in life, our mindsets, our exposure. So, our experiences, our exposures crystallize into mindsets. Mindsets make a certain personality. So, if somebody hates men or somebody hates women, it's not a personality issue. You have to sit with that person. You have to understand the reasons behind it, and then you should let that person come away. So biases, there's a very interesting book I would like to suggest about Abhilash, which was an eye opener for me also. It's called The Art of Clear Thinking, and it talks of so many different biases that we have in our mind and how biases limit us. So so that's how I further, after yoga, I realized that the main reason for people not to be professionally and personally contented is somewhere because of the career decisions they make in life. And I tell this to women more. Of course, it's equally applicable to men. Your choice of career and the choice of your life partner. So, if you're a male, your wife; if you're a female, your husband. If you have gone correct in these two things, they will support each other. If you have gone wrong in one, it will create a mess in the other. So, career, yes. So, career should be looked from a point that it has. What is career? I always say something which helps you to carry your dreams, your aspirations through life. That is a career, and let it be only that much. Don't turn your, don't make your career only the dreams. Career is just a contributor to fulfill whatever. I want to climb the Everest. My career should be supportive to, help me do that. You're getting it. So when children come and say that we want to join the army because of the uniform, I say your dream will be fulfilled on the day you become an officer. When the day you are commissioned, your dream is over. What will you do thereafter? Think of a new dream. You're getting it. So dreams have to be, your aspirations, your visions have to be really, really deep. Otherwise, you will get bored of a career. That is why you see lot of switching in the corporate setup, because nobody has helped them to have deeper and greater visions. Imagine if Einstein only had the vision of, you know, I need to excel in my, PhD. I should be able to just defend my PhD thesis. That's not how it happens. He would have already intuitively envisioned something. I have to do something great for this country. That is how you fulfill dreams. And what interesting thing I would like to add is, Abhilash, for people to understand, you might be interested in certain things, but doesn't mean you're skilled in that. So identify your high interest areas, and you have to acquire the necessary skills for it. So I might be interested in handwriting analysis, but if I wouldn't have done the course, I wouldn't have understand the technicalities. And the third and the last biggest challenge which I feel the corporate setup faces, and which is why this ethos of military ethos, uh, of camaraderie, which we call, is important in the corporate setup. In the corporate setup, it translates into what I prefer to call as belongingness. So this Women's Day, I am Bangalore had invited me to talk about diversity and inclusion, and I told the organizers I want to add one more word. They said what? I said, please add belongingness. And I'll tell you why when I'll come for the talk. We all talk about diversity. Of course, we have to be diverse. We all talk about, once we have created diversity, we have created that opportunity where more people can be included. But where the companies have to actively focus on is ensuring belongingness. You have employed women in the armed forces. You have made that so inclusive that they are at par, earning as much as the male counterparts, right? But unless you employ them effectively to feel inclusive, that has to be an active effort by both parties, by me as an employee, by my employers, both. There has to be constant interaction to bring in relevance to my work. That can only be done by the organization. And also, of course, I need to work hard for that. But as an organization, I need to create those opportunities, have those projects where create such opportunities where women or other players, they get the opportunity to voice out. And once they get the opportunity to voice out, you have to ensure that they do voice out. And this is where most of the problem is. We have reached D and I. We have reached equity also. DEI. B is the B is the next challenge for all of us.
True, ma'am. I think you have, in fact, I can say that I can add a word that you are a visionary as well, because what has happened is, uh, when we are speaking of corporate world and we are speaking of values and ethos, usually it comes as a copy paste. This is the theme going on. Let's do something around it. There's not much thought taken about it, that it should continue or should be ingrained. And next year it should be add on to what the theme is. So what happens? The way you mentioned about the belongingness, वो पहले ही नहीं है. It is a copy of a theme that we have to do on a Women's Day and things like that. So what happens? The leadership changes.
See, that is the. I, I don't think so. Everybody
No,
does
no, not
that,
everybody. I'm
Abhilash.
saying
Trust me,
leadership
my
changes,
experience.
and then
Yeah.
automatically the as the focus around it changes. Whereas same thing is repackaged
जैसा
again.
चला रहा
Same thing
था.
is repackaged again and it comes back.
Yeah.
But अगर हम पहले से ही
Reinventing the wheel.
if we include it in the part and parcel, it will actually add value to the employees and other organization parts, stakeholders, that would be visible as an action and item to it. Because what we are speaking about is being spoken since last, with the globalization and opening up of careers and men and women coming together, equal pay and equal rights, various boards, then posh, so many things. But in the true spirit, that true spirit is still needs to be there. But then I don't want to go there. Today's show is more about your career and your career journey, ma'am. Where I mentioned initially that you 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 achieved a line of career with multiple setbacks which happened initial in your life, that कि आपको फौज में, the medical, the entrance, the kind of uh, what kind of creates a pressure in the mind कि मैं क्या करूँगा करूँगा या करूँगी आगे, आज ये नहीं, ये नहीं हुआ और नहीं वो नहीं हुआ. But some or other way your positivity was there, and when you went to army also, and you actually got surrounded by options to have a career in intelligence, which again is a very very demanding, and we don't know much actually. We know through movies or through certain storybooks or novels about it, and we have imagination about it, that something eyes are there on behind your back also, and so many things, and a lot of analysis and a lot of computer screens and things are going on, something like that. But meeting an intelligence person from the defense, and also you given an exposure कि अगर आप इस career को लेते हैं तो even in the civils, internet intelligence bureaus, there are openings and things like that. But I would want a special section for that, series for that, a career in where we speak about it. but you gave a glimpse. So I would first like to thank that no way you made me feel that uh, that women in career is something. You actually made it sound so easy that it's the must thing to happen, and everybody has every woman has an access to such careers, should have an access to such career. बात है जानने की, बात है उसको समझने की, and then have a deep thinking knowledge, not just a dream कि मुझे यूनिफॉर्म पहनना है. That's it. It ends with the uniform. Like fancy dress जैसा हो जाएगा. But it's not about just wearing it, but the Chetu Dithos, which you mentioned, credos about the way you have dedicated yourself to the country, to the service of the people. तो ये सारी चीजों के साथ we had a very good conversation, ma'am. I would like to thank you for that. And I know you, because there's so many things parallelly going on, taking a time out was a tough choice. Uh, maybe 3-4 दिन हमें लगे coordinate करने के लिए, but thank you so much for your time. It's only after after this conversation I felt that I should have a separate session with different topics where I can actually take your head. My soft corner for being career counseling, actually, I feel that that is the first and most basic, basic need, fundamental need is education है. Education should have a career counseling aspect जो actually bridge करेगा skilling or everything, which is missing in this country. And it's only when they have crossed it they realize that कि हमें तो पता ही नहीं था, हमें तो पता ही नहीं था. Then it's like, yeah, and ma'am, what happens is because this career has not been promoted well, all the people who are also having interest, they finally end up promoting admission or something in abroad and things like that, because everybody has to survive. They don't understand it. But what needs to be done, as you mentioned, those three qualities. So we will have a separate discussion on the career counseling part, and my entire effort of career talk is about actually that. I want to bring in the world of work, create the curiosity, let my audience go and reach out to the career leaders themselves and figure it out. अगर आपके उसको जानने के लिए the deep knowledge which you mentioned, थोड़ी सी तो आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. With that, ma'am, thank you so much again for your time. I know I've been coughing a lot, and I think it's creating a lot of this thing, but some or other way, your story made me so involved. I forgot to take a right sip of water, and from that I'm unable to come back to my normalcy, because I really got. What happened is your story I could relate. Uh, Proper in school, NCC, clear communication skill. Most of the student feel कि हमें नीति जैसा बनना है, and she's unable to crack her own dream. And then suddenly things change, and now everybody wants to understand how did it do it. So how did Major Niti become like that? So वो एक phase I could relate that yes, ऐसा होता है life में. And अगर आप choice करती कि you should have felt bad about it, maybe things would not have. Uh,
True, true. It's very important to be, when we feel bad of failures, I think so. We are acknowledging and we are accepting it. And sometimes that is very important if you have to succeed in life. You have to acknowledge failure also. Not कि उसमें बस डूब ही जाएं रोते रहें वैसा नहीं, but how do I now work to ensure that this turns into a success. And I also personally feel, Abhilash, that many girls tell me this, what you said, they want to become Niti CJ, and I'm like, soch lo bhaiya, really you want to have a life like that? Think twice. And I always say that, see, don't aim to become me, aim to
yes,
become
that's
you.
right.
Because, yeah, because my life, my situations, my things have been different. um, I haven't had many of, you would say, inspirations. I've limited that them to people in my family, I look up to them. I think so there itself, but not to that extent that I am a blind follower of some, some role model. I've never been. I do get inspired by Dr. Kalam. I'm very much inspired by my grandfather, but not to the extent that I'll blindly say ki, I have to become somebody like that. No. So interestingly, whenever my mom used to say, when she saw Kalpana Chawla or Kiran Bedi, all these strong women, and he would say, "I want my daughter to become." I said, "Amma, don't worry. I am not going to become them, but I'll definitely become something great that you will say, yes, Niti. I want to become someone whom people will say that, yaar, Niti CJ jaise hona hai types."
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. I think
But now when I'm there, I feel ki, everybody has a right to make their name great, make their identity great. Create your own identity. Just de-identify yourself from your family, this background, that background. You have to cut those background. You have to snip them. I'm being very honest, Abhilash. I had to snip my identity of being an army officer's child, keep it away from that so that I'm able to focus on what I want to shape myself into.
absolutely.
So everybody has the
ये तो
potential
आपने
for
की,
that.
I think this stands key to creating your own identity. And आपने एक glimpse दिया था self awareness का, वहां पे भी मैं कुछ सोचा था आपको I put to you, but then thank you again, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to the entire audience. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.